People ask me what it's like to betray your father. I tell them I don't remember. That's a lie. I remember everything. The courtroom smelled like old wood and fear. The jury box, 12 strangers who would decide whether a man lived or died behind bars. The prosecutor's voice, steady and relentless, walking me through every question like I was a child learning to cross the street. And my father, sitting 20 feet away at the defense table, wearing a suit I'd never seen before, watching me with eyes that held no anger. Only something worse, understanding. I was 18 years old. My name is Jordan Hayes, and 6 years ago, I sent my father to prison for the rest of his life. Seattle in March is a study in gray. Gray sky, gray rain, gray concrete stretching from the Space Needle to the Sound. I've learned to find comfort in that monotone existence. No surprises, no hidden dangers, just the steady rhythm of a life built on the ashes of another. My apartment is small, a studio in Capitol Hill where the rent eats half my paycheck and the walls are thin enough to hear my neighbor's television through the drywall. But it's mine. Paid for with money, I earned answering phones and filing paperwork at New Horizons, a nonprofit that helps victims of domestic violence find their footing again. The irony isn't lost on me. I spend my days counseling women to leave dangerous men, to break the cycle, to choose safety over familiarity. And every single one of them reminds me of my mother. Elena Hayes died when I was 14. The official report said accidental death. She fell down the stairs in our Philadelphia townhouse at 2 in the morning. Broken neck. Instant. The detective who came to our door had kind eyes and a wedding ring worn smooth from 20 years of friction. He asked questions in a soft voice, the kind you use around frightened animals. My father answered everyone. Yes, they'd been arguing. No, it wasn't physical. Yes, he'd left the house to cool off. No, he didn't know she'd fallen until he came home and found her. I was asleep upstairs. I didn't hear anything. That's what I told the detective, and it was true. I slept through my mother's death, dreaming of a geometry test I hadn't studied for, while downstairs her body cooled on Italian marble my father had imported from Carrara. It took me 4 years to understand what really happened that night. And when I finally did, when the FBI agent named Rachel Ortiz sat across from me in a coffee shop and laid out photographs and wire transcripts and bank records that painted a picture of my father I'd spent my whole childhood refusing to see, I had a choice to make. I made it. Now I live in Seattle, 1,500 miles from Philadelphia, under a name that's legally mine but feels like borrowed clothes. Jordan Hayes, not Jordan Castellano. My father's name died in that courtroom, and I let it. Sunday mornings are for Mia. My sister, 19 now, a sophomore at Columbia studying criminology of all things. Every week at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, my phone rings. We talk for exactly 30 minutes. She tells me about her classes, her roommate's terrible taste in music, the pizza place near campus that makes slices the size of your head. I tell her about work, the rain, a book I'm reading. We never talk about Philadelphia. We never talk about him. Except this Sunday, my phone doesn't ring. I stare at the screen for 5 minutes past the hour, waiting. Nothing. I call her, straight to voicemail. Her voice, bright and young, asks me to leave a message. I don't. I hang up and call again. Voicemail, again, voicemail. By noon, I've called 7 times. By 2 p.m., I've called her roommate who hasn't seen her since Thursday. I've called the residential advisor who says Mia signed out for the weekend. I've scrolled through her Instagram, which hasn't been updated in 11 days. The last post is a photo of a coffee cup with foam art, a heart shape dissolving into brown liquid. The caption reads, "Sometimes the sweetest things don't last." At 3 p.m., I call the one person I swore I'd never contact again. Rachel Ortiz, FBI, Organized Crime Division, the woman who turned me into the star witness against my own father. She answers on the second ring. Her voice is older than I remember, rougher around the edges like she's been smoking again. "Rachel," I say, and there's a pause, just long enough to tell me she's scrolling through her mental database, trying to place the voice. "Jordan," another pause, "what's wrong?" It's not a question. Rachel Ortiz doesn't do small talk. "My sister is missing," I say. The words feel strange in my mouth, too big, too sharp. "Mia. She's not answering her phone. She's not at school. I need help." Rachel doesn't waste time asking if I'm sure, if maybe Mia just went away for the weekend, if I've tried all the obvious things. She knows me well enough to understand I wouldn't call unless I'd exhausted every other option. "Missing how long?" she asks. 3 weeks of sporadic contact. 3 days since anyone saw her. I hear typing. Fast, professional. Rachel pulling up databases, running searches. Give me her full name, date of birth, last known location. I recite the information like a prayer. Mia Catherine Hayes. October 14th, 2005. Last seen at Columbia University, Manhattan. More typing, then silence, the kind that makes your skin prickle. "Jordan," Rachel says carefully, "when did you last speak to her?" 3 weeks ago. She called me. Said she was fine, just busy with midterms. Did she sound fine? I close my eyes, reaching back. Mia's voice on the phone, distant, distracted. "Yeah," she'd said when I asked how she was doing. "Yeah, I'm good. Lots of studying. Listen, I gotta go, but I'll call you soon, okay?" I thought she sounded tired, I tell Rachel. But it's college. Everyone's tired. "I'm going to make some calls," Rachel says. "Stay by your phone." She hangs up before I can thank her. The package arrives at 4:30 p.m., delivered by a courier service I've never heard of. No return address. Just my name printed on a label in generic Arial font, stuck to a padded envelope the size of a paperback book. The courier is a kid, maybe 20, with headphones around his neck and a vape pen clipped to his belt. He has me sign on a screen, then disappears down the hallway before I can ask where it came from. Inside the envelope is a jewelry box. Black velvet, worn at the corners. I know what's inside before I open it. My mother's necklace. It's a simple piece, a silver chain with a small pendant, a saint I never learned the name of. My mother wore it every day. When she died, it disappeared. My father said it must have been lost in the chaos, paramedics and police and strangers tracking through our house. I assumed it had been stolen, some opportunistic cop pocketing a memento. But here it is, in my hands in Seattle, 6 years and 1,500 miles from where I last saw it. Underneath the necklace is a note, handwritten. I recognize Mia's looping cursive immediately, the way she crosses her T's with a little flourish, the way her Y's dip below the line. The note says, "You were wrong about Dad. He didn't kill Mom. I'm going to prove it. Don't try to find me." My hands start shaking. I read it again. Then again, the words don't change. "Don't try to find me." I grab my phone and call Rachel back. This time it goes to voicemail. I leave a message, voice tight. She sent me something, my mother's necklace. And a note. She thinks our father is innocent. "Rachel, call me back." I hang up and stare at the note until the letters blur. Mia was 9 when our mother died. She barely remembers her. She definitely doesn't remember the arguments, the tension that hung in our house like humidity, thick enough to choke on. She doesn't remember the way our father's voice would drop to that deadly quiet register when he was truly angry, the way doors would close and conversations would stop when I walked into a room. She was protected from all of it, by me, by our mother, even by our father in his own twisted way. So where did she get this idea, that he's innocent, that I was wrong? I pick up the necklace, let the chain pool in my palm. The silver is warm from my body heat. I imagine my mother wearing this, her fingers touching it absently while she cooked dinner or helped me with homework, or stared out the kitchen window at the small garden she kept in our narrow Philadelphia backyard. My phone rings. Rachel. I found something, she says without preamble. Mia withdrew $5,000 in cash from her bank account 2 weeks ago. She bought a bus ticket to Philadelphia 3 days later. Philadelphia. The city I ran from. The city where my father built an empire I didn't understand until it was too late. Why would she go back there, I ask, but I already know. The note. She's looking for proof. Rachel is quiet for a moment. Jordan, she says slowly, there's something else. Your father added Mia to his approved visitor list 6 months ago. The world tilts. 6 months. Did she visit him? I whisper. Twice, January and February. Correctional records show 2 visits, 30 minutes each. I sink onto my couch, the necklace still clutched in my fist. Mia went to see him, our father, the man I testified against, the man I haven't spoken to in 6 years. She went to see him and she didn't tell me. Rachel, I need to talk to him. Silence. Jordan. I need to know what he said to her. I need to know what she's doing. You swore you'd never. I know what I swore. But my sister is missing, and she's in Philadelphia looking for evidence about a case that's been closed for 6 years, and I need to know why. More silence. Then I'll make the arrangements. But Jordan, you need to be prepared. He's still your father. And men like Frank Castellano, they don't change just because they're behind bars. I know, I say, but I'm not the same girl who walked into that courtroom either. She hangs up. I sit in my apartment as the gray afternoon fades to a grayer evening, holding my mother's necklace and trying to remember the last time I saw my father's face. Not in a dream or a nightmare, but in reality. Real and solid and close enough to touch. It was the day of the sentencing. The judge read the verdict, life without possibility of parole, and my father stood there in his suit, hands cuffed in front of him, and looked directly at me. The courtroom was silent. Even the reporters stopped scribbling. And in that silence, my father smiled. Not a big smile, just a small upturn at the corner of his mouth, like he was proud. I hated him for that smile. I still do. But now I'm going to see him again. Because Mia is out there somewhere, chasing ghosts, and I'm the only one who can stop her before those ghosts become something worse. The flight to Philadelphia leaves at 6 a.m. I book it on my phone at midnight, sitting in the dark because I can't stand to turn on the lights. The ticket costs more than I have in checking, so I put it on a credit card I've been paying down for 3 years. The confirmation email arrives with a pleasant chime that sounds obscene in the silence. I don't pack much. A small bag with 2 changes of clothes, toiletries, phone charger. I'm not planning to stay long. Just long enough to talk to Frank Castellano, get answers, find Mia, and leave. Simple. Except nothing involving my father has ever been simple. Rachel calls at 1 a.m. I'm lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, so I answer on the first ring. I pulled some strings, she says. You're cleared for a visit tomorrow at 2 p.m. USB Lewisburg. That's where they moved him last year. Medium security. He's been, according to guards, a model prisoner. Of course he has, I say. My father excels at playing whatever role benefits him most. Jordan, Rachel's voice softens. Are you sure about this? No, I say honestly, but I don't have a choice. You always have a choice. I think about that. About choices. About the choice my mother made to marry a man whose business dealings she chose not to examine too closely. About the choice my father made to build his life on foundations of sand and blood. About my choice to tell the truth in that courtroom, even though I knew it would destroy everything. About Mia's choice to go looking for a different truth. Maybe, I say to Rachel, but some choices aren't really choices at all. They're just the least terrible option in a lineup of terrible options. She doesn't argue. She knows I'm right. The flight is turbulent. We hit rough air over Ohio and the plane drops suddenly, stomachs lifting, overhead bins rattling. The woman next to me grips the armrest and closes her eyes. I watch the clouds outside my window, dark and roiling, and think about how easy it would be to just disappear into them. To let the plane carry me away from Philadelphia, from my father, from all of it. But Mia is down there somewhere, and I'm the only family she has left who isn't serving a life sentence. We land at noon. I rent a car, a compact sedan that smells like chemical air freshener and has a dent in the rear bumper. The GPS guides me out of the airport and onto the highway, northeast toward Lewisburg. The landscape changes as I drive, Philadelphia's urban sprawl giving way to smaller towns, then farmland, then the rolling hills of central Pennsylvania. It's beautiful in a way Seattle never is, all green and gold in the early spring light. I haven't been back to Pennsylvania in 6 years. I told myself I never would. At 1:30, I pull into a gas station to use the bathroom and buy a bottle of water I don't drink. The clerk is an older man with a Phillies cap and reading glasses on a chain around his neck. He gives me my change and says, "Drive safe out there. Roads get tricky this time of year." I thank him and get back in the car. USP Lewisburg appears at 1:50. It's exactly what you'd expect a federal prison to look like. High walls topped with razor wire. Guard towers at each corner. A parking lot full of older cars, the kind owned by people who visit loved ones in places like this. I park in a spot near the entrance and sit for a moment, engine off, hands on the steering wheel. You don't have to do this, I tell myself. You can turn around, drive back to the airport, get on a plane, be in Seattle by tonight. But I won't. I get out of the car. The Visitor Processing Center is a low building attached to the main prison complex. Inside, it's all institutional beige and fluorescent lighting. There's a woman at the desk, mid-50s, with a tired face and a badge that reads Visitor Services. She looks up when I approach. "Name," she says. "Jordan Hayes. I'm here to see Frank Castellano." She types something into her computer. "ID, please." I hand over my driver's license. She scans it, hands it back. "You're approved. Put all personal items in a locker. No phones, no bags, no jewelry. You'll go through a metal detector and a pat-down search. Do you consent to search?" "Yes." The process takes 20 minutes. They put my things in a locker, give me a key on a wristband. I walk through the metal detector, spread my arms for the pat-down. The guard is professional, efficient. When she's done, she nods toward a door. "Through there. Officer will escort you to the visiting room." The visiting room is larger than I expected. 20 small tables, each with 2 chairs bolted to the floor. About half the tables are occupied. A young woman with a baby on her hip, talking quietly to a man in prison khakis who looks barely old enough to drink. An older couple, holding hands across the table with a middle-aged inmate who has their same eyes. A teenage girl, arms crossed, glaring at someone who might be her father or her brother. It's impossible to tell. I'm directed to a table in the back corner. I sit. I wait. 5 minutes later, a door on the far side of the room opens, and my father walks through it. Frank Castellano is 56 years old. The last time I saw him, his hair was dark with just a touch of gray at the temples. Now it's almost completely silver, cut short in a style that's more practical than fashionable. He's thinner than I remember, the kind of thin that comes from institutional food and limited exercise options. But his eyes are the same. Sharp, intelligent, missing nothing. He sees me and stops, just for a second. Then he walks to the table and sits down across from me. We look at each other. "Hello, sweetheart," he says. His voice is exactly as I remember it. Low, controlled, with just a hint of the Philadelphia accent he mostly trained himself out of decades ago. I can't speak. My throat has closed up. He leans back slightly, studying me. You look good. Seattle agrees with you. How do you know I'm in Seattle? I manage. He smiles. It's a small smile, sad around the edges. I'm in prison, Jordan. I'm not dead. I have friends. They tell me things. Friends, right. Even from behind bars, Frank Castellano maintains connections to the world outside. Of course he does. Where is Mia? I say. The words come out harder than I intended. His expression doesn't change. You didn't come here to catch up. Straight to business. You really are my daughter. Don't, I say. Don't do that. Just tell me where she is. He folds his hands on the table. I don't know where your sister is at this exact moment, but I know what she's looking for. What did you tell her? He studies me for a long moment. The truth, he says finally, or at least parts of it. What parts? That I didn't kill your mother. I feel something cold settle in my chest. We're not doing this. The case is closed. You were convicted, multiple counts. Of crimes I actually committed, yes. But not that one. Elena's death, that wasn't me. The coroner ruled it an accident. The coroner was wrong. It was murder, just not by my hand. I shake my head. This is exactly what Rachel warned me about. Manipulation. Frank Castellano's specialty. You've had 6 years to think about this. To build a narrative, I'm not interested. Then why are you here, Jordan? Because Mia is missing, and you're the last person who saw her before she disappeared into whatever insane quest you sent her on. His jaw tightens. I didn't send her anywhere. She came to me, twice. The first time I refused to see her, had the guards turn her away, but she came back, wrote me a letter, 10 pages handwritten asking questions about her mother, about that night, about everything. I close my eyes. Mia, what were you thinking? I couldn't ignore her, my father continues. She's my daughter. She deserves to know the truth. Your version of it. The truth isn't subjective, Jordan. It just is. I open my eyes and lean forward. Fine, let's say I believe you. Let's say Mom didn't fall down those stairs. Let's say someone pushed her. Who? Frank Castellano looks at me with an expression I can't quite read. Then he says 3 words that change everything. Vincent Cross did. The name hits me like a physical blow. Vincent Cross, my father's underboss, the man who testified at his trial, the man whose cooperation with the FBI was instrumental in securing my father's conviction. Vincent, I repeat slowly, was the FBI's star witness against you. Yes. He got immunity. He walked away. Because he made a deal. Give them me, get himself freedom. The FBI doesn't care about justice, Jordan. They care about wins. I was a bigger fish. Vincent gave them what they needed. So you're saying the man who testified that you ran a criminal organization for 30 years, who provided detailed accounts of your activities, who helped put you in here for life, is actually the one who killed Mom. I'm saying, my father says with infinite patience, that Vincent Cross killed your mother because she discovered something she wasn't supposed to know. And when I found out, when I threatened to expose him, he made a deal with the FBI. Frame me for everything. In exchange, he gets immunity and I get life without parole. And you just, what accepted that, rolled over. He leans forward now, close enough that I can see the fine lines around his eyes, deeper than they were 6 years ago. I accepted it because the alternative was you and Mia ending up like your mother. Vincent made it very clear. I fight back, you both die. I cooperate, keep quiet, take the fall, you live. That's not a choice, Jordan. That's survival. I sit back, mind racing. This doesn't make sense. If Vincent killed Mom, if he threatened us, why wouldn't you tell the FBI? Why wouldn't you use that to make your own deal? Because I had no proof. It was my word against his. And he already had the FBI in his pocket. Agent after agent, feeding him information, protecting him. By the time your mother died, Vincent had built an insurance policy so thick I couldn't penetrate it. So you went to prison to protect us. I went to prison because it was the only way to keep you alive. We sit in silence. Around us, other conversations continue. The woman with the baby is laughing at something her inmate said. The old couple is still holding hands. Life goes on, even here. Why didn't you tell me this 6 years ago? I asked quietly. At the trial, when I was on the stand, why didn't you say something? Would you have believed me? I don't know. He nods. Exactly. You were 18. You'd spent 4 years thinking I killed your mother. The FBI had spent 4 years building a case against me. One conversation wasn't going to undo all of that. And if I'd tried, if I'd implicated Vincent while you were testifying, I would have put a target on your back. So I stayed quiet. I let you believe what you needed to believe. And I made sure that in exchange for my silence, you and Mia would be untouchable. I want to not believe him. I want to stand up and walk out and pretend this conversation never happened. But there's something in his voice, something raw and honest that I haven't heard since I was a child. Mia found something, my father says, in the safety deposit box I told her about. Evidence. Video, audio, documents, proof of what Vincent was really doing, what your mother discovered. That's why she's in Philadelphia. She's trying to build a case. Against Vincent Cross. Against the whole operation. Vincent didn't work alone. He had partners, powerful people. People who are still out there, and if Mia gets too close. She ends up like Mom, I finish. My father's face hardens. Over my dead body. You're already in prison for life. What exactly can you do? He holds my gaze. More than you think. I still have people on the outside. People who owe me. People who remember that I kept my mouth shut when I could have burned down half of Philadelphia's power structure. You want me to trust criminals. I want you to trust me, one more time. Because if you don't, if you try to find Mia on your own, you're going to walk into something you don't understand. Vincent Cross and his partners, they're not the small-time operation you think they are. They've expanded, gone international. Human trafficking, Jordan, that's what your mother found out. That's why she died. The words hang in the air between us. Human trafficking, the worst kind of evil. How do I find her? I ask. You start with the evidence. The safety deposit box. Bank of Philadelphia, Market Street branch. Box 317. I gave Mia the key. She should have accessed it 2 weeks ago. And then you follow the trail she left. Because Mia is smart. She's my daughter after all, and she knows better than to disappear without leaving breadcrumbs for someone to follow. Why should I believe any of this? Because my father says, and his voice cracks just slightly, just enough to let me see the man underneath the careful control. You're here. You came. After 6 years of silence, of hating me, of building a life as far from me as you could get, you still came when your sister needed you. That tells me that despite everything, you know I'm not the monster you want me to be. A guard calls out, 5 minutes. My father glances at the clock, then back to me. Jordan, he says, there's something else. Something you need to know before you go looking for Mia. What? He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a small piece of paper. The guard tenses but relaxes when he sees it's just paper. My father slides it across the table. On it is written a name and phone number. Marcus DeLuca, I read aloud. My old consigliere, retired 8 years ago, lives in Cherry Hill now. He's the only person outside these walls I trust completely. Call him. He'll help you. Why would he help me? I'm the one who put you here. Because I asked him to, and because Marcus has a daughter too. She cut him out of her life 15 years ago, found out what he really was, changed her name, moved across the country. Last I heard, she was in Seattle, working as a nurse. Marcus understands what it's like to lose a child to your own mistakes. He won't let that happen to me if he can help it. The guard calls out again. Time's up. We both stand. For a moment, we just look at each other, father and daughter, separated by 6 years of silence and a table bolted to the floor. I'll find her, I say. I know you will. He pauses. Jordan, I'm sorry for all of it, for not being the father you deserved, for building a life that put you and your mother and your sister in danger, for making you choose between truth and family. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say to that, so I just nod. As I turn to leave, he speaks one more time. Jordan. I look back. Your mother loved you more than anything in this world. Everything she did, every choice she made, it was all to give you a chance at something better. Don't waste it. I walk out before the tears can start. Outside, the Pennsylvania afternoon is cool and clear. I get in my rental car and sit there, gripping the steering wheel, breathing slowly. In my pocket is the piece of paper with Marcus DeLuca's name and number. In my mind is my father's voice, telling me my mother was murdered. In my heart is the growing, terrible certainty that he might be telling the truth. I pull out my phone and dial the number. It rings 3 times. Then a male voice, older, rough from decades of cigarettes, answers. This is Marcus. Mr. DeLuca, I say. My name is Jordan Hayes. Frank Castellano told me to call you. There's a pause. Then I've been expecting you. Where are you? Louisburg, just left the prison. Head to Philadelphia. There's a diner on Market Street, corner of 5th. Mel's, be there in 2 hours. Come alone. How will I know you? You won't need to. I'll know you. You look like your mother. He hangs up. I sit there for another moment, then start the car. The GPS calculates the route back to Philadelphia. 143 miles, 2 hours and 17 minutes. I pull out of the parking lot and point the car south. Behind me, USP Louisburg grows smaller in the rearview mirror. Ahead of me is Philadelphia, the city I swore I'd never return to. The city where my mother died and my father built an empire, and my sister is somewhere right now, chasing a truth that might get her killed. The highway stretches out, straight and empty. The sun is starting to sink toward the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. I press down on the accelerator and drive toward whatever comes next. Because Jordan Hayes might have run away 6 years ago. She might have changed her name and moved across the country and built a life pretending the past didn't exist. But Mia needs her. And for better or worse, Frank Castellano's daughter knows how to face dangerous men in dangerous places. The Philadelphia skyline appears through a haze of humidity and exhaust fumes as I cross the Schuylkill River. The city looks different than I remember. Cleaner somehow. More glass and steel, less brick and grime. But the bones are the same. The grid of streets my father used to navigate like a chess board, moving pieces in a game I was too young to understand. Market Street cuts through the heart of downtown, past City Hall with its statue of William Penn, pointing toward the suburbs where families like mine used to live. Past the department stores and office buildings where legitimate businessmen conduct legitimate business. Past the spaces in between where other transactions happen. The kind my father specialized in. Mel's Diner sits on the corner of 5th and Market, wedged between a parking garage and a building that used to be a bank. The neon sign flickers red and blue, letters missing. ML's dinar, the windows are foggy with condensation from the cooking inside. Through them, I can see red vinyl booths and a long counter lined with chrome stools. I park in the garage next door, 2 hours and 11 minutes from Louisburg, 6 minutes early. Inside, the diner smells like coffee and grease and something sweet I can't identify. Pie maybe. The lunch rush is over and the dinner crowd hasn't started yet, so the place is mostly empty. A waitress in her 60s wipes down the counter with a rag that's seen better days. 2 men in construction gear sit in a booth near the back, eating burgers and watching a baseball game on the television mounted in the corner. I stand just inside the door, uncertain. The waitress looks up. Sit anywhere, honey. Menus on the table. I choose a booth near the window, facing the door. Old habit. Always know your exits. Always see who's coming. Lessons learned at my father's knee, back when I thought he was teaching me to be careful crossing the street. The waitress brings me a menu and a glass of water. I don't look at the menu. I watch the door. Marcus DeLuca arrives at exactly 2 hours. I know it's him before he even steps inside. The way he pauses on the sidewalk, scanning the street. The way he pulls open the door with his left hand while his right stays near his hip, where a weapon would be if he were carrying one. The way his eyes find me immediately, cataloging, assessing, deciding. He's shorter than I expected. Maybe 5'9", stocky through the shoulders and chest. His hair is white, cut close to his skull. He wears slacks and a button-down shirt, no tie, and carries himself with the careful economy of movement that comes from years of being the most dangerous man in any room. He slides into the booth across from me, without asking permission. Jordan, he says, it's not a question. Mr. DeLuca. Marcus, he flags down the waitress. Coffee, black, then to me, you eaten. No. 2 burgers, fries. He hands the waitress both menus without looking at them. She nods and walks away. We sit in silence until the coffee arrives. Marcus takes a sip, grimaces slightly, takes another sip. Then he sets the cup down and looks at me properly for the first time. You do look like Alina, he says. Same eyes. Same way of holding yourself. Like you're ready to bolt but trying not to show it. I don't know what to say to that, so I say nothing. Frank called me yesterday, Marcus continues. Said you'd be coming. Said I should tell you everything. Everything about what? About the night your mother died. About Vincent Cross. About why Frank took a fall for crimes he didn't commit. I lean back against the vinyl booth. The material is cracked, held together with duct tape. My father told me his version. I want to hear yours. Marcus nods slowly. Fair enough. He drinks more coffee. Where to start? Start with Vincent Cross. Vincent. Marcus says the name like it tastes bad. Vincent Cross was your father's underboss for 15 years. Smart, ruthless, ambitious. Everything you want in a number 2, until the number 2 decides he wants to be number 1. When did that happen? About 12 years ago, maybe 13. Vincent came to Frank with a business proposal, said there was money to be made in a new market. Frank asked what market. Vincent said logistics, transportation, moving merchandise from point A to point B. That's vague. Intentionally. Because the merchandise Vincent wanted to move wasn't drugs or guns or anything Frank's organization had ever touched. It was people. The word sits between us like a stone. Human trafficking, I say. Marcus nods, women mostly, girls, brought in from overseas, promised jobs, better lives. Then the promises turn into something else. And my father said no. Your father said hell no, told Vincent if he ever brought it up again, he'd personally throw him off the Benjamin Franklin Bridge. Frank had rules, no drugs in schools, no hurting civilians. And absolutely no trafficking. Those were lines he wouldn't cross. But Vincent crossed them anyway. Not right away, he was smart. He waited, built relationships with people outside Frank's organization, international connections, and he kept it quiet. Set up shell companies, dummy corporations, all the infrastructure. By the time Frank found out, Vincent had been running the operation for 2 years. How did my father find out? Your mother told him. The burger arrives. Marcus picks up his and takes a bite. I don't touch mine. I'm watching his face, reading the micro-expressions that flicker across it like television static. Mom knew, I say slowly. Alina was smart, smarter than anyone gave her credit for. She handled the books for Frank's legitimate businesses, the restaurants, the construction company, the dry cleaners. She had an accountant's eye for numbers, and one day she noticed money moving in ways that didn't make sense. Payments to companies that didn't exist, receipts for services never rendered. She started digging. And she found Vincent's operation. She found enough to understand what was happening, not the full scope, but enough. She brought it to Frank, showed him the ledgers, the transfers, the paper trail. Frank confronted Vincent. It didn't go well. Define didn't go well. Marcus sets down his burger. Vincent didn't deny it. He doubled down, told Frank this was the future, that the old way of doing things, the rules and the codes, that was all dinosaur thinking. The world was changing. Either Frank evolved or he'd get left behind. Frank told him to shut it down, immediately. Vincent said he'd think about it. But he didn't shut it down. He went to the FBI instead, offered them a deal. He'd give them Frank Castellano, complete with evidence of 30 years of racketeering, money laundering, all of it. In exchange, immunity for Vincent. Clean slate, new life. The FBI agreed. Of course they did. The FBI doesn't care about small fish. They want the big names, the headlines. Frank Castellano, alleged organized crime boss, that's a trophy. Vincent Cross, nobody outside of Philadelphia ever heard of him. Easy choice. I pick at the fries on my plate. They're hot, fresh from the fryer, but I'm not hungry. So Vincent made his deal. But that doesn't explain why my mother died. No, Marcus agrees. That's the other part. Vincent had a problem. Alina knew about the trafficking. She documented it. And Alina was, forgive me for saying this, but she was done with the life. She wanted out, wanted to take you and Mia and disappear. She told Frank as much. I remember that conversation, pieces of it. My mother's voice, tight with emotion. The sound of my father pacing in his office, a door slamming. Frank agreed to it, Marcus continues. Told Alina to give him 6 months. He'd liquidate assets, set up trusts for you girls, make it so you'd be taken care of. Then he'd step away. Let someone else run things, maybe even cooperate with the FBI himself, get ahead of whatever Vincent was planning. But Vincent couldn't risk that. Vincent couldn't risk Alina testifying, couldn't risk her documentation ending up in federal hands. So he solved the problem. By killing her and making it look like an accident. Marcus doesn't answer. He doesn't need to. The television in the corner switches from baseball to news. A reporter stands in front of a government building, talking about budget negotiations. The sound is muted, but the closed captions scroll across the bottom of the screen. I watch them without reading them. Why didn't my father fight back, I ask? Why didn't he tell the FBI about Vincent, about the trafficking, about everything? Because Vincent had insurance. People inside the FBI, people who fed him information, protected him, made sure any investigation went the direction he wanted. By the time Frank understood how deep it went, Vincent had him boxed in. And then Vincent delivered the final blow. Which was? He threatened you and Mia. Told Frank if he didn't cooperate, If he tried to implicate Vincent or expose the trafficking operation, you'd both end up like your mother. Simple as that. So my father took the deal. He took the fall, pled guilty to crimes he actually committed and a few he didn't, accepted life without parole, all to keep you safe. I close my eyes. The diner sounds fade into background noise, the clink of silverware, the hiss of the coffee maker, the murmur of the construction workers' conversation. When I open my eyes again, Marcus is watching me with an expression that might be sympathy. Mia doesn't know any of this, I say. Mia knows parts. Frank gave her enough to point her in the right direction, but she doesn't have the full picture. That's why she's in danger. Where is she? Marcus pulls out his phone. It's an older model, the kind with actual buttons. He scrolls through something, then turns the screen toward me. It's a photograph. Grainy, taken from a distance. Mia, unmistakably Mia, standing on a street corner talking to a man in a suit. When was this taken, I ask. 3 days ago, South Philly, near the old Italian market. Who's the man? That, Marcus says, is David Chen. He's a lawyer, works for Vincent Cross. My blood goes cold. She's with Vincent. Not with, talking to. There's a difference. Marcus zooms in on the photo. Look at her body language. She's not scared. She's negotiating. Negotiating what? That's what we need to find out. Marcus puts the phone away. I've got people watching. The moment Mia surfaces again, I'll know. Why are you helping me? You don't know me. You owe me nothing. I owe Frank everything. He kept his mouth shut when he could have buried half the city. Mine included. That kind of loyalty, it means something. And besides, he clears his throat. I've got a daughter. She's 30 now. Married, 2 kids. She doesn't know what I used to do. Thinks I ran a construction company. And that's how it should be. Kids shouldn't pay for their father's sins. Does she live nearby? I ask. Marcus looks away. Seattle, actually. Has for about 10 years. Works as a nurse at one of the hospitals. Swedish, I think. Or maybe it's Virginia Mason. I'm not sure. I only know because I have a friend who keeps an eye out. Makes sure she's okay. From a distance. You've never tried to contact her. What would I say? His voice is rough. Sorry I lied about everything. Sorry you found out your father was a criminal. Sorry I ruined any chance of you having a normal relationship with me. She made her choice. The right choice. I respect that. Maybe she'd forgive you, if you tried. Maybe. He drinks his coffee. But some bridges aren't meant to be rebuilt. Sometimes the best thing you can do for the people you love is stay away. I think about my father, about the choice he made to go to prison, about staying away to keep us safe. What's her name? I ask quietly. Your daughter. Marcus hesitates. Then Claire Montgomery now. She took her husband's name, has a son and a daughter, the boy's 5, the girl's 3. He pulls out his phone again, scrolls to a photo, shows me. It's a family photo, clearly taken from social media. A woman in her 30s with dark hair and Marcus's eyes. A man with kind face. 2 kids. They look happy, I say. They are, and that's enough. Marcus puts the phone away. Now, back to your sister. Here's what we're going to do. We leave the diner separately. Marcus goes first, pausing on the sidewalk to light a cigarette. I watch through the window as he walks away, hands in his pockets, just another retiree out for an afternoon stroll. You'd never know he used to be one of the most feared men in Philadelphia. I pay the check. The waitress thanks me and tells me to have a blessed day. I wonder what she'd think if she knew what we just discussed over burgers and coffee in her diner. Probably she wouldn't care. In this city, in this neighborhood, people have learned not to ask questions. Bank of Philadelphia on Market Street is 6 blocks away. I walk, needing the movement, needing the time to think. The streets are crowded with people leaving work early, flooding toward train stations and bus stops. I move through them like a ghost, untouched and untouching. The bank is one of those old buildings trying to look modern. Classical architecture with a glass facade grafted onto the front. Inside, it's all marble and brass and the hushed reverence of money. A security guard nods at me from his station near the door. Tellers behind bullet-resistant glass help customers with deposits and withdrawals. I approach the desk marked customer service. A young woman, maybe 25, looks up with a professional smile. I need to access a safety deposit box, I say. Do you have your key and identification? I pull out the key my father told me about. It's small, brass, worn smooth from years of handling. The number 317 is stamped into the metal. I slide it across the desk along with my driver's license. The woman types into her computer. "One moment, please." She types more. I see her eyebrows raise slightly. Then she picks up a phone, turns away, speaks in a voice too low for me to hear. After a minute, she hangs up and turns back to me. "I'll need to get a manager. Please have a seat." Is there a problem? No problem, just protocol for this particular box. She gestures to a sitting area with leather chairs and a table covered in financial magazines. I sit, I wait. I watch people come and go through the revolving doors. A man in a suit arguing on his phone. A woman with a baby in a stroller. 2 teenagers laughing about something on one of their phones. 10 minutes later, a man in his 50s approaches. He's wearing a suit that costs more than my monthly rent, and his handshake is exactly firm enough to convey confidence without aggression. "Ms. Hayes, I'm Robert Morrison, branch manager, if you'll follow me." He leads me through a door behind the teller stations, down a hallway lined with offices, to an elevator. We ride down 1 floor in silence. The elevator opens onto a corridor that's all concrete and fluorescent lighting. Utilitarian, no windows. We walk to a heavy vault door. Morrison enters a code on a keypad. The door swings open with a hydraulic hiss. Inside is a room lined with metal drawers of various sizes. Morrison consults a chart, then moves to a section in the back. He uses a bank key and my key simultaneously in 2 locks. The drawer slides out. "I'll give you privacy," he says. "Press the button by the door when you're finished." He leaves. I hear the vault door close with a solid thunk. I'm alone with whatever my mother left behind. The safety deposit box is larger than I expected. About 2 feet long, 8 inches deep. Inside are several items: a manila envelope, a small leather journal, a USB drive, and underneath everything, a videotape. The old kind VHS in a case labeled only with a date. March 7th, 2014, 2 weeks before my mother died. I start with the journal. The handwriting is my mother's, neat and precise. The entries are sporadic, spread over 3 years. Reading them feels like eavesdropping on the dead. January 2012. Something is wrong with the accounts. Money moving that shouldn't be. I asked Frank. He said not to worry, but I am worried. May 2012. I followed the transfers, dummy corporations, all of them registered to addresses that don't exist. Frank doesn't know I'm still looking. I think it's better that way. November 2012. I found it. God help me, I found it. Vincent Cross is running something separate from Frank's business, something terrible. I don't know what to do. The entries get shorter, more frantic. My mother knew she'd stumbled onto something dangerous. She documented it all. Account numbers, transfer records, names of companies and individuals. The manila envelope contains copies of bank statements, wire transfers, incorporation documents. The paper trail my mother built. It's meticulous, damning, and it all points to Vincent Cross. The USB drive is labeled in my mother's handwriting. Evidence, February 2014. I don't have a computer to check what's on it, but I can guess. More documentation, maybe photographs, maybe recordings. The videotape sits at the bottom of the box. I lift it out carefully. The plastic case is cracked at one corner. Inside, through the clear window, I can see the tape spooled around its reels. On the label, underneath the date, my mother wrote 3 words in blue pen. For my daughters. My hands are shaking. I set the tape down and press the heels of my palms against my eyes, breathing slowly. In through the nose, out through the mouth. The technique my therapist taught me for managing panic attacks. It doesn't help. My mother knew she was going to die. She knew it 2 weeks before it happened. And she made this tape for me and Mia. I gather everything back into the box. The journal, the envelope, the USB drive, the tape. Then I press the button by the door. Morrison appears within seconds. All set, he asks. I need to close the box. Can I do that from here? Of course. We can transfer it to your name if you'd like, or you can simply retain the key. Transfer it, I say. Put it in my name. I'll prepare the paperwork. 20 minutes later, I walk out of the bank with a leather portfolio Morrison gave me. Inside is everything from the safety deposit box. Outside, the sun is starting to set, turning the Philadelphia sky orange and purple. My phone rings. Marcus. You get it, he asks without preamble. Yeah. Good, we need to meet. Now. What happened? I found Mia, but we've got a problem. Tell me. Not over the phone. There's a parking garage on 12th, top level, 20 minutes. He hangs up. I walk quickly now, clutching the portfolio against my chest. People passing by probably think I'm just another office worker heading home with work to finish. They don't know I'm carrying evidence that could bring down a trafficking network spanning multiple countries. The parking garage is one of those automated ones. You punch your ticket at the entrance, and the machine tells you where to park. I ignore the machine and drive straight to the top level, taking the spiral ramp up 6 floors. The top level is open to the sky, concrete and painted lines and the smell of exhaust. Marcus is already there, leaning against a black sedan, smoking a cigarette. When he sees me, he drops it and grinds it out with his heel. Show me, he says. I hand him the portfolio. He flips through the contents quickly, efficiently. His expression doesn't change, but I see his jaw tighten when he gets to the videotape. Your mother was a hell of an investigator, he says. She was thorough. Vincent Cross is going to want this. All of it. He's probably been looking for it for 6 years. Good thing he doesn't know I have it. Marcus looks at me. About that. He pulls out his phone again, shows me another photograph. This one is recent. Very recent. Today recent. It shows me walking into the Bank of Philadelphia. Someone's watching me, I say. Multiple someones. I've counted at least 3. They picked you up when you left the diner. Why haven't they made a move? Because they're waiting to see what you do, where you go, who you meet. You're more valuable as bait than as a target. For now. I lean against my rental car. The metal is warm from the sun. And Mia. Marcus pulls up another photo. This one shows Mia getting into a car. A nice car. Mercedes. The driver is obscured, but I can see enough to know it's a man. Middle-aged. Asian. Who's that? Thomas Zhao. He runs the international side of Vincent's operation, bringing people in, moving them around. He's been in the business 30 years, very connected, very dangerous. And Mia got in a car with him. Voluntarily, Marcus zooms in. Look at her face, she's not scared. She's talking, animated. What does that mean? It means Mia thinks she's smarter than she is. She found some of your mother's evidence, enough to know Vincent was dirty. So she did what any naive 19-year-old would do. She went to the source, told them she wanted to make a deal. What kind of deal? That's what I've been trying to figure out. Marcus shows me another photo. This one is Mia and David Chen, the lawyer, sitting in what looks like a coffee shop. They're looking at something on a laptop. My guess, Marcus says, is that Mia offered them partial evidence in exchange for proof that Frank was framed. She thinks she's negotiating. She doesn't realize they're just stringing her along until they can find out where the rest of the evidence is. But she doesn't have it. I do. Exactly. Which means when Vincent realizes Mia doesn't have what he needs, he's going to come looking for it. And for you. The sun is almost gone now. The sky is deep purple, fading to black. Below us, the city lights are coming on. Philadelphia at dusk, beautiful and dangerous in equal measure. So what do? I ask. We use what we have, set a trap, make Vincent think we're willing to trade, the evidence for Mia's safety. And then we make sure the FBI gets everything. The real FBI, not the people on Vincent's payroll. How do we know who to trust? Marcus smiles. It's not a pleasant smile. We don't. But I've got a contact. Someone who's been trying to build a case against Zhao's organization for 2 years. Clean agent. I've had her vetted 6 ways from Sunday. Her. Rachel Ortiz. The name hits me like cold water. Rachel. The woman who built the case against my father. The woman I called when Mia first disappeared. You know Rachel, I say. I know of her, never met her, but my sources say she's legitimate, turned down bribes, refused to be compromised, the kind of agent who actually believes in justice. I told Rachel I was coming to Philadelphia. I didn't tell her why. She probably figured it out. FBI agents aren't stupid. Marcus walks to his car, opens the trunk. Inside is a laptop. He powers it up. Let's see what your mother left on that USB drive. I hand him the drive. He plugs it in. The laptop whirs and clicks. Then a window opens. Files, hundreds of them, spreadsheets, PDFs, scanned documents, audio files, video files. Marcus opens one of the videos at random. It's security camera footage. Black and white, timestamp in the corner. March 2014. The camera looks down at a loading dock. A truck backs up. Men get out. They open the back of the truck. Women climb out, maybe a dozen of them. Young, thin. They're wearing clothes that don't fit right, carrying plastic bags with their possessions. They look terrified. A man approaches. Even in the grainy footage, I recognize him. Vincent Cross. Younger, less gray, but unmistakably him. He talks to one of the truck drivers. Money changes hands. The women are led into a building. Marcus closes the video. He opens another. This one is clearer. Color, it's a meeting. Conference room. Vincent Cross sits at the head of a table. Around him are men I don't recognize, except one. The Asian man from the photo with Mia, Thomas Zhao. They're discussing routes, numbers, costs per unit. They're talking about human beings like their inventory. This is what your mother found, Marcus says quietly. This is why she died. I'm going to be sick. I turn away, breathing hard. Marcus gives me space. After a minute, I straighten up. We need to get this to Rachel, I say. All of it, tonight. Agreed. But first, we need to get Mia away from Zhao. Because the moment this goes public, anyone connected to that operation becomes a liability. And Thomas Zhao doesn't leave liabilities alive. So we make the trade. Evidence for Mia, but we keep copies. And we make sure the FBI is ready to move the second we have Mia secured. How do we even contact Vincent? Marcus closes the laptop. We don't. We contact David Chen, the lawyer. Tell him you want to negotiate. You'll give them what they want. But only if Mia is released first, unharmed in a public place. They won't agree to that. They will if they think they can take the evidence and eliminate you both afterwards. Marcus looks at me. This is going to be dangerous, Jordan. These aren't the kind of people who negotiate in good faith. I know, but I don't have a choice. Mia is my sister. She's the only family I have left who isn't in prison. Your father would be proud of you. My father, I say, is the reason we're in this mess. Marcus doesn't argue. He just hands me a burner phone. Use this to contact Chen. I'll set up a meet with Rachel. We'll coordinate everything. But Jordan, he puts a hand on my shoulder. Once we start this, there's no stopping. People are going to get hurt. Some of them might be us. I understand. Do you? Because 6 years ago you walked away from this world, testified against your father and moved across the country and built a normal life. You can still do that. You can walk away right now. Let me handle this. Let the FBI handle this. And Mia. I'll do everything I can to get her out safely. I shake my head. No, she's my responsibility. I'm the one who left her behind. I'm the one who was so focused on escaping that I didn't see she was struggling. I'm the one who has to fix this. Marcus nods slowly. Then let's get to work. We spend the next hour planning. Marcus knows people, has resources, can move pieces on a board I can barely see. He makes phone calls on encrypted lines, sends text messages in code, arranges meetings and backup plans and contingencies. I watch the city below us. Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, the city where the United States was born, the city where my mother was murdered and my father was imprisoned and my sister is somewhere right now, thinking she's clever enough to outsmart men who have been playing this game since before she was born. My phone rings. Not the burner, my real phone. I almost don't answer. But then I see the caller ID. Rachel Ortiz. I answer. Jordan, Rachel's voice is tight. Where are you? Philadelphia. I know. I've had eyes on you since you left Lewisburg. Why didn't you tell me you were going to see your father? Because I knew you'd try to stop me. Damn right I would have. Do you have any idea how dangerous this is? Vincent Cross has people everywhere, if he knows you're digging into this. He already knows. I've been followed since I got here. Silence. Then, Jesus, Jordan, you need to come in. Right now, protective custody. Let us handle this. I can't do that. Not until Mia is safe. Your sister is in way over her head. She's been meeting with people connected to a trafficking network that spans 3 continents. We've been building a case for 2 years, and she's about to blow it wide open. Then help me get her out. I have evidence. Everything my mother collected before she died. Security footage, financial records, documentation of the whole operation. You can have all of it, but first I need Mia back. Another silence, longer this time. Then Rachel says something I don't expect. I believe you, about your father. I've been reviewing the case files. There are inconsistencies. Things that didn't add up at the time, but I was too focused on the conviction to question them. I think Frank Castellano took a fall for Vincent Cross, and I think I helped put an innocent man in prison. Not innocent, I say, but not guilty of what mattered most. I want to make this right, Rachel says. Tell me what you need. I look at Marcus. He nods. I need you to trust me, I say to Rachel. And I need you to be ready to move fast when I give you the signal. What kind of signal? The kind that says I'm about to do something incredibly stupid and possibly suicidal. Jordan. Do you trust me or not? I hear her sigh. Against my better judgment, yes, I trust you. Then I'll be in touch. I hang up before she can argue. Marcus is watching me. Rachel's on board. She's got reservations, but yeah, she's on board. Good, because we're going to need her. He pulls up a contact on his phone, shows me the name. David Chen, attorney at law. You have his number. I have everyone's number. Marcus hits dial. He puts it on speaker. The phone rings 3 times. Then a smooth voice answers. This is David Chen. Mr. Chen, Marcus says. My name is Marcus DeLuca. I'm calling on behalf of Jordan Hayes. She'd like to discuss a transaction. There's a pause. Then I'm listening. Ms. Hayes has come into possession of certain materials that I believe your employer is interested in acquiring. She's willing to negotiate an exchange. In exchange for what? Her sister's safe return. Another pause. Longer this time. I hear papers rustling, a door closing. When Chen speaks again, his voice is lower, more careful. These materials, he says. Can you be more specific? Documentation, video evidence, financial records, everything Alina Castellano collected before her death, everything Vincent Cross has been looking for. The silence on the other end is absolute. Then, I'll need to consult with my client. How can I reach you? Marcus gives him the number for the burner phone. We'll be waiting. Chen hangs up. Now what, I ask? Now we wait, and we get ready. Because when they call back, it's going to be fast. They'll want to move before you change your mind or go to the authorities. I'm already going to the authorities. They don't know that. Marcus locks the laptop, hands it to me. Keep this close. Don't let it out of your sight. If something happens to me, if things go sideways, you get this to Rachel Ortiz. Make sure it gets into the right hands. Nothing's going to happen to you. He smiles that sad smile again. I'm 64 years old, Jordan. I've been in this life since I was 18. I've done things I'm not proud of. Hurt people who didn't deserve it. Made choices that haunt me. If this is how it ends, trying to save a kid who deserves better, that's not the worst way to go. Don't talk like that. It's not pessimism. It's realism. In this world, you live on borrowed time. I've borrowed more than most. The burner phone rings. We look at each other. Marcus answers, puts it on speaker. Chen's voice. My client is interested in your proposal. He'd like to arrange a meeting. Tomorrow night. 7 p.m. There's a warehouse in the Port Richmond area. I'll text you the address. Mia needs to be there, I say. Unharmed. Or there's no deal. Ms. Hayes will be present, Chen says, but the exchange will need to happen simultaneously. You bring the materials, we bring your sister. Both parties verify what they're receiving. Then we part ways. In a warehouse, in Port Richmond. At night, I say, do you think we're stupid? I think you're desperate, Chen says calmly. And desperation makes people do things they wouldn't normally consider. If you want your sister back, this is the offer. Take it or leave it. Marcus mutes the phone. He looks at me. It's a trap, you know that. Of course it's a trap, but it's the only way to get Mia. We could go in heavy, bring enough people to make them think twice, and risk them killing Mia the moment they see we're not alone. No, we do it their way, but we make sure Rachel has backup ready. The second Mia is safe, the FBI moves in. Marcus unmutes the phone. We'll be there, he tells Chen. 7 p.m. tomorrow. But if anything happens to Mia before then, if she's harmed in any way, the deal is off and everything we have goes straight to the FBI. Understood, Chen says. See you tomorrow. He hangs up. Marcus and I sit in the parking garage as full darkness settles over the city. Below us, Philadelphia goes about its evening. People heading to dinner, to bars, to homes where families are waiting, normal lives, safe lives. Lives I'll never have. You should get some rest, Marcus says. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. Where am I supposed to go? I can't exactly check into a hotel. I'm being followed. You'll stay with me. I've got a place in Cherry Hill, 20 minutes from here. Secure. No one knows about it except people I trust. Which is how many people? 3, you'll make 4. We drive separately, Marcus leading the way in his sedan. I follow, watching the headlights behind me, trying to determine if any of them belong to the people watching me. Probably they do. Probably they're following me right now, reporting my movements, making plans for tomorrow. Let them think they know what I'm going to do. Let them get comfortable. Because tomorrow, when I walk into that warehouse with my sister's life hanging in the balance and 6 years of evidence that could destroy Vincent Cross's empire, I'm going to do what my father taught me. I'm going to survive. Marcus DeLuca's safe house is not what I expected. I imagined something Spartan, military, a place designed for function over comfort. Instead, it's a 2-bedroom apartment in a complex that looks like every other middle-class retirement community in New Jersey. Manicured lawns, visitor parking, a sign near the entrance advertising water aerobics on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're on the 3rd floor. Marcus unlocks the door and gestures me inside. The apartment is clean, simply furnished. A leather couch that's seen better days, a television on a stand. Bookshelves lined with paperbacks. Tom Clancy, John Grisham. The kind of books men read when they're trying to escape into someone else's violence. In the kitchen, the counter is clear except for a coffee maker and a dish rack. Everything has its place. Everything is controlled. Guest rooms down the hall, Marcus says. Clean sheets in the closet. Bathrooms shared. I'm an early riser, so if you need to shower, do it before 6 or after 7. Thank you, I say, for all of this. He waves it off. Get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to test you in ways you can't prepare for. I want to ask what he means, but I'm exhausted, bone-tired. The kind of tired that comes from adrenaline wearing off and fear settling in, so I just nod and head to the guest room. It's small, single bed, nightstand, lamp, window overlooking the parking lot. I set the laptop on the nightstand, plug it into charge. Then I lie down on top of the covers, still fully dressed, and stare at the ceiling. Sleep doesn't come. Instead, my mind replays the day. My father's face across the prison visiting table. Marcus telling me how my mother died. The videos on the USB drive. Women climbing out of trucks. Men discussing human beings like commodities. And Mia, somewhere in this city, thinking she's clever enough to manipulate Thomas Zhao and Vincent Cross, thinking she can trade information for truth. I pull out my phone. No messages, no missed calls. Just the background photo I set 2 years ago. A sunset over Puget Sound. Water and sky and the promise of distance. I almost call Rachel. Almost tell her to send people now. Raid whatever location Zhao is keeping Mia. Arrest everyone involved and let the courts sort it out. But that's not how this works. Rachel has been building her case for 2 years. She needs the exchange to happen, needs to catch them in the act with the evidence and the witness and the money trail all connecting at once. One wrong move and Vincent Cross disappears into a legal system designed to protect men like him. So I lie in the dark and I wait for morning. Somewhere around 3 a.m., I hear Marcus moving around. The soft pad of footsteps, water running, the quiet click of a door closing. I wonder if he sleeps at all, if men like him ever really rest, or if they just close their eyes and watch the ghosts parade past. At 5:30, I give up pretending. I shower quickly, quietly, then dress in the same clothes from yesterday. In the kitchen, coffee is already brewing. Marcus sits at the small dining table reading a newspaper, actual paper, the kind that gets delivered to your door. He looks up when I enter. Sleep okay? Not really. Yeah, me neither. He gestures to the coffee maker. Help yourself, mugs are in the cabinet. I pour coffee. Black. The same way my mother used to drink it. I sit across from Marcus, and we share the comfortable silence of people who understand that sometimes words are just noise. After a while, Marcus folds the newspaper. Put it aside. He looks at me with those careful eyes. Before this goes down, he says, there's something you need to understand. I'm listening. Men like Vincent Cross, like Thomas Zhao, they don't operate on the same moral framework as normal people. To them, other human beings are resources, tools, things to be used and discarded. Your mother discovered that. It got her killed. Your sister is discovering it now. And tonight, when we walk into that warehouse, they're going to see you the same way, as a problem to be solved. I know. Do you? Because knowing intellectually and knowing in your gut are two different things. When you're face to face with someone who genuinely doesn't care if you live or die, someone for whom your suffering means nothing, it changes you. And you can't ever really go back to who you were before. I think about my father, about the man who read me bedtime stories and taught me to ride a bike and took me to father-daughter dances at school. The same man who built an empire on other people's fear, who made decisions that resulted in pain and loss and broken lives. I've already been changed, I say, 6 years ago, the moment I decided to testify. Marcus nods slowly. Fair enough, but tonight you're going to have to make different choices, harder ones, and I need to know you're ready. What kind of choices? The kind that don't have right answers, only consequences. He stands, walks to the window, looks out at the parking lot where the morning sun is just starting to paint the cars in shades of gold. I've killed 3 men in my life, Jordan, self-defense, all of them, but I remember each face, each moment. The weight of it never goes away. I'm not planning to kill anyone. Plans don't matter once the bullets start flying. What matters is that you understand the stakes. Mia's life. Your life. The lives of every woman those men are trafficking. All of it hangs on the next 12 hours. Then we'd better not mess it up. He turns back to me, almost smiles. You're definitely Frank's daughter. My phone rings. The burner, I look at Marcus. He nods. I answer. Ms. Hayes, David Chen's smooth voice. I'm calling with final details for tonight's exchange. I'm listening. 7 p.m. as discussed. The warehouse is at 2847 East Allegheny Avenue, Port Richmond. Come alone. Bring all materials. Any sign of law enforcement and the deal is off. I need proof Mia's okay. Hold, please. The line goes quiet. Then I hear breathing, close to the phone, a voice I'd recognize anywhere. Jordan, it's Mia. She sounds tired, scared, but alive. I'm okay. Don't worry about me. Just please, whatever they're asking for, don't give it to them. It's not worth it. They're not going to let us go anyway. There's a scuffle. Mia's voice cuts off. Chen comes back on. As you can hear, your sister is unharmed. For now, 7 p.m., don't be late. He hangs up. I set the phone down. My hands are shaking. Marcus reaches across the table, covers one of my hands with his. She's smart, he says, warning you. She knows it's a trap. Of course it's a trap, but we're walking into it anyway. Yes, but we're walking in with a plan, and with Rachel's people waiting. The moment you and Mia are clear, they move in. And if we're not clear, if something goes wrong, then I'll make sure you get out, even if I don't. I look at this man, this stranger who owes me nothing. who's risking his life for a girl he's never met because of loyalty to a man sitting in a federal prison. Why are you really doing this? I ask. He's quiet for a long time. Then I told you I have a daughter. Claire, the one in Seattle. What I didn't tell you is what I'm hoping comes from this. What do you mean? Marcus pulls out his phone, opens his email, shows me a draft. It's addressed to an email I recognize from the photo he showed me yesterday. The message is short. Claire, I know I have no right to contact you after all these years. I know what I did, what I was, hurt you in ways I can never fix. But I want you to know I'm trying to do one good thing. For a girl who reminds me of you. Smart, brave, caught in a situation she didn't choose. If something happens to me tonight, I hope you'll hear about it and think maybe the old man wasn't completely beyond redemption. I love you. I always have. Dad. You're going to send this, I ask. If we make it through tonight, yeah. If we don't, it'll send automatically. I've got it set up that way. Marcus puts the phone away. Either way, she'll know I tried. That's all I can ask for. I think she'd want to hear from you either way. Not just if you're dead or dying. Maybe, but I need to earn that. Tonight, if I can help save your sister, if I can do this one thing right, then maybe I'll have earned the right to try to reconnect with my own daughter. You've already earned it, just by wanting to. He shakes his head. You don't understand. The things I've done, the people I've hurt. Claire knows some of it, but not all. When she found out what I really was, the look in her eyes, I never want to see that look again. So I have to prove I'm more than what I was. And this, he gestures at the apartment, at me, at everything, this is how I do that. We spend the rest of the morning preparing. Marcus has equipment, more than I expected. Body armor, hidden cameras, tracking devices, tools of a trade he claims to have left behind but clearly hasn't. Not completely. He fits me with a vest. Thin, flexible, designed to be worn under clothing. It won't stop a rifle round, he says, but it'll give you a chance against handguns. Wear it. I put it on. It's heavier than it looks. Next is a small camera, barely visible. Marcus clips it to the button of my shirt. This feeds to Rachel's team. They'll see everything you see, hear everything you hear. What about you? I've got my own setup. He shows me a similar camera on his jacket, plus tracking on my phone. They'll know where we are at all times. And the laptop, the evidence. That stays in the car until the last possible moment. We verify Mia first, make sure she's really there and really okay. Then and only then do we discuss the exchange. At noon, Rachel calls my regular phone. I put her on speaker so Marcus can hear. The team is in position, she says. We've got the warehouse under surveillance. 3 exits, north, south, and a loading dock on the east side. We've identified at least 6 individuals on site, likely more inside. Thomas Zhao, I ask. Confirmed. Arrived an hour ago. Vincent Cross is also there. Vincent himself. He doesn't usually get his hands dirty. He wants this bad, Rachel says. Whatever your mother collected, it's enough to bury him. He's not going to trust anyone else with the recovery. That makes it more dangerous. Yes, which is why I'm asking one more time. Let us handle this. We can go in now, extract Mia, arrest everyone on site. And lose the evidence chain, lose the case. Give Vincent's lawyers room to argue coercion and unlawful detention and whatever else they can think of. No, we do it the right way. Rachel sighs. I had to try. Okay, rules of engagement. You go in at 7. The moment you confirm Mia is safe, you say the code phrase. The phrase is, I think we can work this out. That's the signal. My team moves in. SWAT will breach from all 3 exits simultaneously. Your job is to get down and stay down. Let the professionals handle the rest. What if something goes wrong before we can give the signal? If I hear gunfire, If I see anyone in immediate danger, we're coming in. I'm not going to let you die for a case, Jordan. Understood. And Jordan, Rachel's voice softens. I'm sorry. About your father. About everything. If we'd looked harder at Vincent's testimony, if we'd questioned the inconsistencies, maybe none of this would have happened. You were doing your job. I was doing it badly. I was so focused on the conviction that I didn't see the setup. That's on me. After tonight, maybe you can make it right. That's the plan. Stay safe. She hangs up. Marcus and I spend the afternoon going over scenarios. What if Mia isn't there? What if there are more people than we anticipated? What if they search us and find the cameras? What if? By 5 p.m., my head is spinning with contingencies. Stop, Marcus says. You're overthinking. In situations like this, you can't plan for everything. You have to trust your instincts. React. Adapt. Your father was good at that. Reading a room, knowing when to push and when to fold. I'm not my father. No, you're better. You've got his strategic mind without his baggage. Use that. At 6:15, we get in Marcus's car. The laptop is in a reinforced case in the trunk. The evidence that 6 people died for, that my mother collected knowing it would probably cost her life. That Mia has been chasing for months. The drive to Port Richmond takes 20 minutes. The neighborhood is industrial. Warehouses and shipping containers and buildings with broken windows. This part of Philadelphia doesn't see much foot traffic after dark, which is exactly why Vincent chose it. The warehouse at 2847 East Allegheny is a squat concrete building set back from the street. Roll-up doors on the loading dock. A single entrance on the north side. No windows on the ground floor. It looks abandoned. But I can see fresh tire tracks in the gravel lot, and there's a light on somewhere inside. Faint, barely visible through gaps in the roof. Marcus parks 3 blocks away. He kills the engine, looks at me. Last chance to change your mind. I'm not changing my mind. He nods, then let's go get your sister. We walk. The evening is cool. The sun is setting behind us, casting long shadows across the empty street. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barks. A car alarm goes off. The sounds of a city that doesn't care what happens in forgotten corners. At 6:58, we reach the warehouse. The door is unlocked. Marcus opens it slowly. Inside is darkness. Then a light clicks on, harsh, fluorescent, hanging from the ceiling 20 feet up. The warehouse is mostly empty. Concrete floor, metal support beams, graffiti on the walls, and in the center, under the light, standing in a semicircle, are 6 men. I recognize 3 of them. Vincent Cross, older than in the videos but unmistakable, gray hair, expensive suit, the face of a man who's spent his life convincing people he's legitimate. Thomas Zhao, shorter, stocky, wearing slacks and a polo shirt like he's on his way to a golf course. And David Chen, the lawyer, holding a briefcase, looking nervous. The other 3 are muscle. Young men with dead eyes and visible weapons in shoulder holsters. And behind them, tied to a metal chair, is Mia. She looks small, younger than 19. Her face is bruised, left eye swollen, lip split. Someone hit her, recently. Rage floods through me, hot and immediate. I take a step forward. Marcus puts a hand on my arm. Easy, he murmurs. Vincent Cross steps forward. Jordan Hayes, he says. His voice is smooth, cultured. The voice of a man who's comfortable in boardrooms and country clubs. We finally meet. I knew your mother, lovely woman. Such a tragedy what happened. You had her killed, I say. He smiles. It doesn't reach his eyes. Careful. Accusations like that can be considered slander. I had nothing to do with Alina's unfortunate accident. It wasn't an accident. So you say, but the authorities disagreed. Vincent spreads his hands. I'm not here to debate the past. I'm here to discuss the future. You have something I want. I have something you want. Let's make a trade like civilized people. Civilized, I repeat. You beat my sister. Thomas Zhao shrugs. She was uncooperative. We needed to establish parameters. Marcus steps forward. He's calm, controlled, but I can feel the tension radiating off him. The deal was she'd be unharmed. The deal, Zhao says, was she'd be alive. She's alive. I kept my end. I look at Mia. Our eyes meet. She shakes her head. A tiny movement, warning me, but I'm not leaving without her. Let me see her, I say, up close. I need to know she's okay. Vincent considers, then nods. Chen, take Ms. Hayes to her sister. Let them have a moment. David Chen walks over, gestures for me to follow. Marcus stays where he is, facing Vincent and Zhao. I cross the warehouse floor. My footsteps echo in the empty space. When I reach Mia, I drop to my knees in front of her. Her hands are zip-tied behind the chair. Her feet are zip-tied to the legs. She's been sitting like this for hours at least. Mia, I whisper, are you hurt? Anything broken? Just bruises, she says. Her voice is hoarse. Jordan, you shouldn't have come. They're going to kill us both the moment they get what they want. I know. Then why are you here? Because you're my sister, and I should have been here for you all along. I'm sorry. For leaving. For not seeing that you were struggling. For letting you chase this alone. Tears well up in her eyes. You testified against Dad. You did what you had to do. I did what I thought was right, but I was wrong about a lot of things. Jordan, Vincent's voice cuts across the warehouse. Touching reunion. But we're on a schedule. Do you have the materials or not? I stand, turn to face him. I have them. Where? Close by. But first we need to discuss terms. You release Mia. Give her to my associate. Then I'll provide the materials. Vincent laughs. It's a cold sound. Do I look stupid, Ms. Hayes? You'll provide the materials first. We'll verify they're complete and authentic. Then we'll consider releasing your sister. Consider isn't good enough. It's all you're getting. Vincent's smile disappears. You seem to be under the impression that you have leverage here. You don't. You're in my warehouse, surrounded by my people. Your choices are simple. Give me what I want and maybe you both walk out of here. Refuse, and I guarantee you won't. I need time to think. You have 30 seconds. I look at Marcus. He gives a slight nod. The FBI is listening to all of this, recording it, building their case, but they need more. They need the actual exchange, the evidence changing hands, the admission of guilt. 20 seconds, Vincent says. What guarantee do I have, I ask, that you'll let us go? What's to stop you from taking the evidence and eliminating the witnesses? Vincent pulls out a phone, makes a show of checking the time. 10 seconds. My mind races. The code phrase. I think we can work this out. That brings the FBI. But if I say it now, before they have the evidence, before Vincent incriminates himself further, the case falls apart. 5 seconds. Wait, I say. Okay, I'll get the materials, but I want your word. I almost choke on the word as a man of honor, that my sister walks free. Vincent stares at me. Then he nods. You have my word. Your sister will leave here unharmed, assuming you deliver what you've promised. He's lying. I can see it in his eyes, but I need to play along, need to give Rachel more time. The materials are in a car 3 blocks from here, I say. I'll need to retrieve them. Chen will go with you, Vincent says, to ensure you don't get lost. Marcus steps forward. I'll go too. Make sure there's no funny business on either end. Vincent considers, then shrugs. Fine. But Jordan, he locks eyes with me, understand something. If you're not back here in 15 minutes, your sister dies. If you try to run, your sister dies. If I see a single police officer, a single federal agent, a single person who doesn't belong, your sister dies. Are we clear? Crystal. Then go, clock's ticking. Marcus, Chen, and I walk out of the warehouse. The moment we're outside, Chen speaks quietly. I assume you're wearing a wire. Standard procedure. I don't answer. Doesn't matter, he continues. This is going to end one way. You know that, right? Vincent isn't letting you leave. He can't. You're the only people outside of his organization who know the full scope of the operation. Then why are you helping him? I ask. Because I don't have a choice. He owns me, owns my debts, owns my family's safety. You think I want to be here? You think I enjoy being part of this? You could walk away, right now, disappear. And my daughter ends up like your mother. No, thank you. We reach Marcus's car. I open the trunk. The laptop case is there. I pull it out. It's heavy, solid. Inside is everything. My mother's life's work. The evidence that could save hundreds of women or get us all killed. Chen reaches for it. I pull it back. Not yet. Not until we're inside and I see Mia released. That's not the deal. The deal, I say, is whatever I say it is. Tell Vincent if he wants this. Mia walks first. Chen pulls out his phone, makes a call, talks in a low voice, then hangs up. Fine, but if you're stalling, if this is some kind of play, it won't end well. We walk back to the warehouse. 13 minutes have elapsed, 2 minutes of margin. Inside, nothing has changed. Mia still tied to the chair. Vincent and Zhao standing in the light. The three muscle guys watching us with flat, dead eyes. I hold up the case. This is it, everything. But before I hand it over, you cut her loose. Vincent gestures to one of the muscle guys. The man walks over to Mia, pulls out a knife. For a horrible second, I think he's going to hurt her, but he just cuts the zip ties. Mia's hands are free, then her feet. She stands, wobbles slightly, sits back down. Come here, Mia, I call. She shakes her head. Jordan, don't, please. Mia, I say again, come to me now. She stands again. This time she stays upright, starts walking, slow, unsteady. She reaches me and I put my arm around her. She's shaking. Now the case, Vincent says. I look at Marcus. He nods. I think we can work this out, I say clearly. For a moment, nothing happens. Then I hear it. The sound of vehicles, multiple vehicles, screeching to stops outside, doors opening, boots on pavement. Vincent's face changes. Understanding dawns. You, he starts. FBI, a voice booms from outside. Everyone inside, hands where we can see them. You are surrounded. Everything happens at once. The three muscle guys go for their weapons. Marcus shoves me and Mia down. Vincent runs for the back exit. Zhao stands frozen. The doors explode inward. North, south, east. SWAT in full tactical gear flood the warehouse. Flashlights, laser sights, shouted commands. Get down now, hands on your head. I'm on the ground, covering Mia with my body. There are sounds, sharp cracks, shouting, the smell of gunpowder and fear. Then silence, sudden and complete. I raise my head slightly. The three muscle guys are down, not moving. Thomas Zhao is on his knees, hands behind his head, blood streaming from his nose. David Chen is on the ground, arms spread, sobbing. Vincent Cross is gone. Rachel Ortiz appears next to me. She's wearing a vest, holding a rifle. She helps me up. You okay? She asks. I'm fine, Mia. I'm okay, Mia says. Her voice is small. I'm okay. Rachel looks around. Where's Vincent? He ran, I say. Back exit. She speaks into her radio. Suspect fleeing on foot. All units converge on the south perimeter. Marcus walks over. He's untouched. Calm, like this is just another day. The laptop, he says. I still have it, clutched against my chest. Good. Rachel's going to need that. We're let outside. Ambulances have arrived. Paramedics swarm. One of them tries to check Mia, but she waves him off. Another approaches me. I let him look me over. He shines a light in my eyes, checks my pulse, declares me fit. All around us is organized chaos. FBI agents processing the scene. Evidence teams photographing everything. A man in a suit talking on a phone, barking orders. Rachel comes back 20 minutes later. Her face is grim. Vincent got away. We had the perimeter, but he had an exit we didn't know about. Tunnel under the warehouse. Leads to a storm drain system. He's in the wind. I feel something sink in my chest. All of this, and he still escaped. But Rachel continues. We have Zhao. We have Chen. We have the 3 associates. And we have this. She taps the laptop case. This is everything we need to dismantle the entire network. Vincent can run, but he can't hide forever. Every law enforcement agency in the country will be looking for him. And in the meantime, you and Mia are safe. That's what matters. I look at my sister. She's wrapped in a blanket despite the warm evening, staring at nothing, processing everything that just happened. I walk over, sit next to her on the bumper of the ambulance. We're okay, I say. Are we? Mia's voice is flat. Mom's dead. Dad's in prison. We almost died tonight. Vincent's still out there. How is any of this okay? Because we're alive. Because we have each other. Because sometimes that's all there is. She leans against me, puts her head on my shoulder. We sit like that for a long time. Sisters, survivors, 2 girls who wanted nothing more than normal lives and instead got tangled in the web their father built and their mother tried to tear down. Marcus approaches. He looks tired, older than he did this morning. FBI wants statements, he says, from both of you. It's going to be a long night. I nod. We'll do whatever they need. After that, he says, you should leave. Get out of Philadelphia. Go back to Seattle or somewhere else. Somewhere Vincent can't find you. What about you? Me, Marcus shrugs. I'll be fine. I'm not the one he's after. But Rachel will want you to testify. About my father. About everything. Probably, and I will. Frank deserves that much. But after that, I disappear. I've got places I can go. People who owe me favors. I'll be a ghost. He starts to walk away. I call after him. Marcus. He turns. Thank you for everything. For believing me. For helping Mia. For risking your life for people you barely know. I didn't do it for you, he says quietly. I did it because it was right. Maybe the first truly right thing I've done in 40 years. That's worth something. Are you going to send that email? To Claire? He pulls out his phone, looks at the draft. Then, yeah, I am. We made it through. That's got to count for something. It counts for everything. He nods, walks into the darkness. I watch him go. This man who lived a life of violence and regret and chose, in the end, to be better than his past. The FBI keeps us until almost midnight. Statements, questions, going over every detail. Rachel is professional, thorough, but I can see the exhaustion in her eyes, the weight of 6 years of mistakes. When we're finally released, she offers to drive us somewhere. Hotel, airport, wherever we want to go. I want to see my father, I say. Rachel blinks. Tonight, now. Tomorrow, first thing. Can you arrange it? She nods slowly. I can make it happen. But Jordan, are you sure? I look at Mia. She nods. We're sure, I say. The next morning, Rachel drives us to USP Lewisburg. It's the same route I drove 2 days ago, but everything feels different. The landscape. The light, me. The prison processes us quickly. Rachel's credentials open doors. We're led to a private visiting room, not the big open space with families and kids. A small room with a table and 4 chairs. Windows with bars, but actual windows. Natural light. We wait. The door opens. Frank Castellano walks in. He's wearing the same prison uniform, but his face is different. Open, vulnerable. When he sees us, both of us together, his eyes fill with tears. He sits. We sit across from him. For a long moment, nobody speaks. Then my father says, I heard. About last night. About Vincent getting away. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, Mia says. He looks at her, at the bruises on her face. It is my fault, all of it. If I'd been smarter, if I'd seen Vincent for what he was sooner, if I'd protected your mother better, if I'd never gotten involved in this life in the first place, all of this is my fault. We made choices too, I say. Mom chose to investigate. Mia chose to go looking for answers. I chose to testify without knowing the whole truth. We all bear responsibility. You were children, my father says. You are children. The responsibility is mine. Mia reaches across the table, takes his hand. It's the first time I've seen them touch in 6 years, maybe longer. We're going to fix this, she says. Rachel's going to reopen your case. With the evidence we have, with Zhao and Chen testifying, with everything Mom collected, we can prove Vincent framed you. That's not how the system works, sweetheart. My father's voice is gentle. I still committed crimes, real crimes. I still ran an organization, laundered money, bribed officials. The fact that I didn't kill your mother doesn't erase everything else. But it matters, Mia insists. It has to matter. It matters to me, my father says. He looks at me. It matters that you know, that you both know, I'm not a good man. I've never been a good man, but I loved your mother, and I love you. And I'd do anything, pay any price to keep you safe, even this. He gestures around the room. The prison, his life sentence. I'm not asking you to forgive me, he continues. I'm not asking you to forget what I did. I'm just asking you to know the truth, and to live your lives, good lives, better than mine. That's all I want. I feel tears on my face. I don't remember when I started crying. We'll visit, I say, not every week, maybe not every month, but we'll visit because you're our father, and despite everything, that means something. He nods, can't speak, just nods. Mia squeezes his hand tighter. Tell us about Mom, the good things, before everything went wrong. And my father does. For the next hour, he tells us about Alina, how they met, their first date, the way she laughed, the way she sang off-key in the kitchen, the way she wanted nothing more than for her daughters to have choices she never did. We laugh, we cry, we remember a woman who died trying to do the right thing, a woman who deserves better than to be forgotten. When the visit ends, when the guards come to take our father back to his cell, he stands, looks at us both. I'm proud of you, he says, both of you. Your mother would be too. Then he's gone, led away through the door that locks behind him. Mia and I walk out of the prison together. The sun is high. The day is warm. Summer in Pennsylvania. What now, Mia asks. Now I say we live, we heal, we move forward. Can we do that, after everything? We have to try. We get in Rachel's car. She drives us to the airport. On the way, she tells us about the case, about the arraignments, about Vincent being added to the FBI's most wanted list, about the investigation expanding to 3 countries. You'll both need to testify eventually, she says, when it goes to trial. But that's months away, maybe years. For now, just focus on recovering. At the airport, we say goodbye to Rachel. She hugs us both, something I didn't expect. Take care of each other, she says. And Jordan, if you ever want to talk about your father, about the case, about anything, call me. I will. Mia and I fly to Seattle, together. She's going to stay with me for a while, maybe transfer schools, maybe take a semester off. We'll figure it out. On the plane, somewhere over Ohio, Mia falls asleep against my shoulder. I look down at her. My little sister, 19 years old, a survivor. I think about my mother, about the choices she made, about the evidence she collected knowing it might cost her everything, about her love for us, fierce and unconditional. I think about my father, sitting in a cell, growing old, paying for crimes he committed and crimes he didn't, choosing imprisonment over risking our lives. I think about Marcus, who sent that email to his daughter, who's waiting, hoping for a response, who chose to do one good thing. And I think about myself, about the girl who testified at 18, who ran away to Seattle, who built a life pretending the past didn't exist, who came back when it mattered, who learned that family is complicated and love is messy, and sometimes the people who hurt us most are the ones trying hardest to protect us. The pilot comes on the intercom. We're beginning our descent into Seattle. The flight attendants prepare the cabin for landing. Mia stirs, wakes up, looks out the window at the clouds. Almost home, she says. Almost home, I agree. And for the first time in 6 years, I believe it might actually be true. 3 weeks later, I'm at work when my phone rings. Unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something tells me to pick up. Hello. Jordan Hayes, a woman's voice, unfamiliar, nervous. Yes, who is this? My name is Claire Montgomery. I got an email from Marcus DeLuca, he said. She pauses. He said you might be able to tell me more about what happened, about what he did. I step outside, find a quiet spot. Claire, Marcus told me about you. He did. He's very proud of you, and he wants you to know he's trying to be better. He helped save my sister's life. I read about that. In the news. She's quiet for a moment. Is my father a good person? I think about Marcus, about the choices he made, the life he lived, the one good thing he did. I think he's a person who's done bad things, I say carefully. But who chose, when it mattered, to do something right? And I think he loves you very much. She's crying, I can hear it. I don't know if I can forgive him, for lying, for everything. You don't have to decide that now. But maybe, if you wanted, you could meet him. Talk, see what happens. Maybe, she says, maybe I could do that. I can give you his number, if you want. She's quiet. Then okay, yes, please. I send her Marcus's contact information. We talk for a few more minutes. Then she has to go, pick up her kids from school. After we hang up, I sit on the bench outside my office. The Seattle sky is gray. It's raining. Of course it's raining. But I'm smiling. 6 months later, Vincent Cross is found in Mexico, arrested trying to board a boat, extradited back to the United States. His trial lasts 4 weeks. The evidence is overwhelming, the testimony damning, the verdict guilty on all counts. He gets life without parole, the same sentence my father has. Rachel Ortiz is promoted, made the head of a new task force focused on human trafficking. She uses my mother's evidence as a template, builds cases across the country, saves lives. Thomas Zhao pleads guilty, cooperates with investigators, Gets 25 years in exchange for testimony against Vincent and information about the international network. David Chen gets 10 years, loses his law license. His family moves away, changes their name. Marcus DeLuca has dinner with his daughter once a month. They're taking it slow, building trust. His grandchildren call him Mr. Marcus. He's okay with that, for now. Mia transfers to University of Washington, studies social work, wants to help people escape the kind of life our parents were trapped in. She's good at it, natural. She has our mother's compassion and our father's strategic mind. We visit our father 4 times a year: Christmas, his birthday, Mother's Day, and the anniversary of Mom's death. We bring him books, tell him about our lives, listen to his stories. He's declined 2 appeals, says he deserves to be where he is, says it's the price for the life he chose. We don't argue. I still work at New Horizons, still counsel women leaving dangerous situations, still believe that people can change, can choose better paths. Some nights I dream about the warehouse, about the sound of boots on pavement and Mia's bruised face. But most nights I dream about my mother, about her smile, her voice, her courage. And I wake up in Seattle, in my small apartment, with my sister sleeping on the couch and sunlight trying to break through the clouds, and I'm grateful. Because we survived. Because we have each other. Because the past doesn't own us anymore. And because sometimes, just sometimes, the good guys win. Not perfectly, not without cost, but enough. Enough to keep going. Enough to hope. Enough to live.